Good afternoon, it's Pastor Marty from the Afternoon Drive. Welcome to the Sunday afternoon edition, and I'm just sitting here kind of thinking over as we gear up for this 2020 election. It's just bordering on the complete and total surreal. On the one hand, let's take a look at these Democratic candidates, and every day a new one jumps into the clown car. We've got Beto. Biden almost gave a Freudian slip last night and said he's running. And he actually said that he's the most progressive. Okay, apparently Kirsten Gillibrand is now officially in. And we've got Hickenlooper and Corey grabbing boys in the men's room, Booker. And Kamala thinks she's a hottie Harris. And the list just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And, you know, you take a look at that and you think, they're so far to the left. Even members of their own party are on CNN and PMSNBC and telling them, you can't go this far left. Now, do these people really think that America has shifted that far left and is totally socialist? Or is the fix in? Have they already decided the outcome of the election? They just simply need to go through a casting call to decide, quote, who the president's going to be. After all, the last time you really got an opportunity to say who you wanted, why, we ended up with Donald Trump. See, they really didn't put a big fix into the election last time around because they had already cooked the primary so that Bernie couldn't get it and Hillary would be crowned queen. And I think the media thought that a Hillary-Trump matchup, why, she would certainly walk all over the orange man. There was no way he could win. That's why she didn't even bother to campaign places. She wasn't going to go to any of the Democratic strongholds. What for? Donald Trump won. Stop and think about it. Carried Ohio. The previous election cycle, the Democrats were so worried that Mitt Romney might actually beat Barack Obama. You talk about putting the fix in. Cleveland, Ohio. Not one vote for Romney. Not one single person in that entire Metroplex area voted for Mitt Romney. Now, I can understand, Romney's a stiff, and we know that he would not have been our ideal Republican conservative candidate. But not one vote. Now we have President Trump going to run for re-election. Has the fix already been so cooked, not only by the Democrats, but even by the GOP? Was that the warning signal that Jeb Bush was flashing when he was on CNN with David Axelrod, former advisor to Barack Obama? Jeb Bush sitting there saying he thinks that someone within the Republican Party ought to challenge Donald Trump, because his policies are, quote, dangerous. Now, on the one hand, I find it a bit laughable that he would refer to Donald Trump's policies as dangerous. Let's see, your brother got us into a war that just doesn't seem to want to end. He got us into war against individuals that we really never did see any hard case evidence that they actually had anything to do with 9/11. Nor do we actually ever find out where the so-called weapons of mass destruction were. At some point, you got to say, I regret voting for Bush. When Jeb says one of the reasons we need to challenge Donald Trump is Republicans deserve a choice, he said. I remember riding in my car one day and hearing, that basically this was before Donald Trump had thrown his hat into the ring for 2016. And hearing the pundits on the radio talk about, well, you know, Jeb's got $100 million war chest, and, you know, he's just going to sweep through these Republican primaries, and he won't even have to really campaign. He's got such name recognition, and, of course, Hillary's going to dominate on the Democratic side. So what we're looking at is a Clinton-Bush rematch. And I thought to myself, really, God? A country of 300 million people, and this is the best we can come up with? A rematch of another Hillary, another Clinton, and another Bush? Really? Let's start to put it all together now. You have old man Prescott Bush, who in the 1930s was illegally selling weapons to Nazi Germany. That's how he made his millions. Now, by the time America got in the war, I do believe he stopped selling weapons to the enemy. That's a good thing, I guess. In the 1960s, his son, George Herbert Walker Bush, was running the CIA. Isn't that interesting? Although, you know, he went to his grave denying that he was ever really like the director, headed, you know, just... He becomes the president on the coattails of the power and the popular Ronald Reagan. But he totally twists and contorts and ruins conservatism. Starts talking about this brave new world order that we are all, as Americans, we're going to be a part of, and we are going to run. And then he did that stupid, read my lips, no new taxes. And what did he do? He raised taxes, and he really opened the door for globalism to be accepted and embraced as part of our political ideology. And he had his, well, this is conservatism. It was George H.W. Bush that proposed NAFTA, and Bill Clinton was the one that got it through Congress. Proving once again what I have said. Democrats and Republicans are simply different sides of the same coin. There's not a dime's worth of difference between them. Then along comes George W. Bush, and shall we say the interesting way that he got into office. And then after he gets here, you know, we have the 9/11 attack and people keep him there because it's going to keep the country safe. And then there's Jeb Bush today, I should say yesterday on CNN, talking about that why Trump's policies are dangerous, especially in the areas of trade and foreign policy. We're winning the trade war. Let's not forget, the worst economic collapse in this country, next to the Great Depression, happened under your brother, Jebby. That's why Barack Obama was elected to begin with. The economy tanked under your brother. He bailed out the banks as the housing market blew up, and so the banks not only got free money from the government, they then got to go in and repo everybody's houses. So they got money and your house. That was the Bush doctrine. Thank you. Oh, and the Bush foreign policy doctrine was to attack and invade countries that hadn't actually posed any existential threat to the United States, but we're going to spread democracy by conquering them and replacing their governments and then forcing them to buy our products, because that's freedom. And Barack Obama certainly carried that out. Along comes Donald Trump. And I know in the interview you insisted, well, all he did was insult people. Yeah, he kind of took care of you, didn't he, low-energy Jeb? The day you went out there on the morning talk shows, you know, Good Morning America, Today's Show, whatever shows it was you were on, with your mommy. And your mommy was the one talking mean about that mean man, Donald Trump. All I could think of was like, what are you, like an 8-year-old kid who got picked on at the playground? And so your mommy's going to go down there and straighten out the bully? Listen, Donald, you let my son on the merry-go-round. You let my son go down the slide. You let him have a turn on the swings, too. I'm thinking, so when some rogue military dictator regime, you know, saber rattles and threatens harm to the United States, What? Your mommy's going to do the press conference? You don't talk about my son like that. I mean, you are just inept, and you have no business on any level being the president. And of course, certainly on the area of immigration, illegal immigration, you said it's an act of love to let these people come here illegally. Of course you hate Donald Trump, because he's a real conservative. You said we need to have a debate on what conservatism is. We had it under Reagan, lost it under your father on purpose. It was replaced with globalism. That failed, blew up the economy under your brother. And along comes Donald Trump, back to the Reagan style of conservatism, and shazam, Batman, we've cut taxes, we've entered a trade war, the economy is rocking and rolling. And then you take a shot at the Make America Great Again by saying, we don't need a nostalgic trip to the past. We need bold, decisive, blah, 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 political BS and puke. Puh. Well, between your brother and your father, they had 12 years in the White House. What did they do to him? Nothing. Nothing. So you got Jeb Bush out there now saying, well, somebody ought to challenge Trump. Now, is he saying that because he already knows that the never-Trumpers, even the oligarch within the GOP elite and the DNC elite have already collaborated, and they have just flat out decided Donald Trump doesn't get reelected? And they're starting to cook the election process, which is why the Democrats feel like, yeah, we can run this tree stump over here that is, got nothing but, socialism, and we're going to take all your stuff, and he's not going to be able to stop it because the fix is in. And then we have Jeb Bush and the Never-Trumpers and those 12 traitor GOP senators working for the enemy. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Be involved this political season. Stick with this president. We need to elect and send reinforcements to Washington, D.C. And again, Jeb, go away. I don't even care if you go away angry. Just go away. We, as conservatives, and even as the American people, done with the Bush family. That's it. That's my rant for today. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell to get my next rant.